Hello everyone, my name is Ananya and this is my Milestone 6 presentation for Aethermart. In this milestone, I focused on three main areas. First is advanced ETL orchestration, then data governance, and at the end, a full end-to-end security assessment. I'll also summarize how all the previous milestones come together into one united architecture. So I'll begin with the advanced ETL orchestration layer. In this milestone, I designed a coordinated ETL system that controls how product, customer, order, review, and vector embedding data move through Aethermart. So the goal is precise scheduling, dependency handling, and full visibility through logging and monitoring. So this slide shows the full orchestration layer I designed. It covers all the ETL pipelines like products, customers, orders, order items, reviews, product embeddings, and MongoDB synchronization. Even though I didn't deploy Airflow, my implementation follows the same principles, which is dependency ordering, retries, and structured logging. So I followed the industry standard orchestration concepts. Directed acyclic graphs, they define the task sequences. Dependencies ensure operations happen in the right order. Idempotency makes tasks safe to rerun. And logging and observability let us track every step. Then at the end, the retry logic ensures that if a task fails, we are retrying the same task. And together, all these create a stable production ready data pipeline. So this is my uh, architecture diagram or DAG workflow. It starts with the extracting the data from all the for all the tables, and then it goes to the staging table, and after that from staging table it gets transformed. Data is standardized, cleaned, and the data for NoSQL is also prepared, and some business rules and validations are done, and after that, when the data is cleaned, it is loaded into the main tables, and then we see the logs in our ETL audit logs table, that what all data got entered, which data failed, and why it failed. And after that, the pipeline ends. So this summary table shows what each ETL pipeline does and what validations it performs. For example, the customers ETL, it reads from staging customers, it normalizes field, and then that is inserts or updates data into customers. So what I did was that I did the email normalization, in which I transferred the emails from uppercase to lowercase, and if there is a duplication, I remove that too. This all happens in the one single pipeline. So the orchestration pipeline, it calls all these different pipelines. So in products table, the product ETL enforces category integrity. The orders ETL validates foreign keys, and the reviews ETL sanitizes text and rating values. The product embedding ETL generates placeholder vectors for products which do not have any embeddings created. So it sees that whatever products are there which do not have an embedding, this ETL will update the embeddings for those products. Then we have the MongoDB NoSQL ETL. So basically, it converts SQL product rows into JSON and upserts them into MongoDB. So the transformation which is done is that the data is being converted into NoSQL. So, and specifically a document data type here. Then we have the major pipeline, the orchestrator pipeline, that is our main file, which executes all these ETL tasks in order. Plus, it retries and then logs data. So if something fails, it retries and the same task, and then at the end it logs whatever was the status. So this is one of the most important design choices, that is soft load versus hard stop. So the thing is that how do we know that if we have to roll back all the data, if one or two rows fail or not? So this strategy that I have chosen is to use soft load, that is, load all the data which is successful, and if few rows are unsuccessful, just do not insert it in main tables. So this strategy is ideal for Aethermart because it mirrors real world e-commerce ETL practices. So basically, in e-commerce environments, there are some tables like product catalogs, customer records, order and review data, and etc., which which are not perfect, and which can have some invalid data. So those kind of data should not, prevent the insertion of all the rows in the main tables. So therefore, I did the soft load on those tables. But categories and suppliers, I didn't do it on these tables because like we should have like for example, if in suppliers if a supplier is missing, then it breaks the downstream, right? So and same for categories. Like if there is no categories, how can we have products? So therefore, these are few tables on which I didn't use soft load. So this is the implementation of the ETL pipeline. This is my directory structure. So here, if you see, I have the orchestrator file, which is the main pipeline, which runs all these different pipelines. Then I have this logs directory. Inside that, I have etl.log. This is auto-generated. I didn't create it. And these are the pipelines for the individual tables. So here if you see, I've created the directory structure in the same way. So I have the orchestrator dot py, I have the pipelines, and inside the pipelines, I have all these files, these individual files. Oh, here you can see the orders pipeline, customers. So basically, in every pipeline, I have done some validation. And if that validation is fine, then I'm inserting that in my, main table. And if it is not, then I'm not inserting that data. Instead, I'm logging that in my log table along with the reason that why it didn't work. Like here, you can see I'm logging. So similarly, I have all the files. So this is the main file orchestrator. So I have all the pipelines here, which it is importing. Then it runs the all these pipelines one by one and logs if that individual pipeline fails or passes. Then I have this init file, and in this I have all the pipeline names mentioned. Here I have the products pipeline, so you can see that I'm inserting some data here and then logging. So if that entry is pass or fail, then I have this embeddings, product embeddings um, pipeline. Then this customers pipeline. So I'm normalizing emails here. So if any email is in, uppercase, I'm normalizing it to lowercase and then inserting it. So this is some data cleaning that I did. Then the orders pipeline, reviews pipeline here. I'm, uh, you know, uh, doing some data cleaning again and then inserting that into main tables. This is my NoSQL pipeline. So basically here I'm inserting all my products data into NoSQL using document type. So basically I'll be just parsing the data from the staging table to the MongoDB collection. Okay, so this is the implementation. Sorry. Okay. So this is the structure, the directory structure that I just showed you. Now, before I run this orchestration file, I wanted to show that I have some data in my staging tables, but I do not have any data in my main tables, and also I do not have any data in the audit logs. So this was the table that I created. Then here also in MongoDB, I see that there is no data. Here it is showing 0. So, okay. So once I will run the orchestration pipeline, then data will get inserted. Now, before running the orchestration, I had to, create the audit tables, right? So this is the ETL audit log table that I created. So here you can see that I have the audit ID, the pipeline name. So basically whatever pipeline is running and will be mentioned here. What is the status of that pipeline and how many rows were inserted, how many rows were updated, and what is the error message? Then what was the start time of that pipeline? What's the end time? So here we are doing all the logging and monitoring tasks. So I just copied this code and pasted it here in this create audit table.sql. Now I have this helper file um, log. Just paste it here. Now I have both these files. So I will just run this file to create the audit table. So here I'm running it using this command. So MariaDB was not up. That's why I wasn't able to run the file. Now I bootstrapped this server and I again um, ran this file and I see that there is no error. That means that the table is created. Now I will see if the table was created. So I'll see if that table was created. And I see that table ETL audit log is created now. But right now there shouldn't be any data in this table because we haven't yet run our orchestration pipeline. So you see the schema of the table. It has all the fields that I just discussed. Now I will move ahead and run the orchestration pipeline. So basically the main pipeline. So I'll go to my ETL directory where I have my orchestration pipeline. Now, I had some errors, I resolved them, and then I'll again run the pipeline. And I see that, okay. So basically, I haven't run this helper file, so I ran that. And then again, I tried running Python orchest orchestrator file. So basically, the path was different for both the files, my helper and my orchestrator. So I changed my path, and after that, again, I'm trying to run my orchestrator file. I'll see if it is successful now. Yes, so orchestration run complete. Now it is telling me to check my logs. Now, inside this logs directory, I told you that this etl.log is like an auto-created file. It was not there earlier. Now I'll go to the logs and I'll see that etl.log is there. So if I see that file, I'll see some logs. Yeah. So I see that there is some error and everything was logged. So the orchestration pipeline was successful. Like it started, but but one of the individual pipelines failed. So this is one of the one of an important information that we get, and this makes our ETL pipeline robust because we know that what is the issue inside our pipelines. So now it will retry after 3 seconds. So basically, it saw that there is some issue. It retries that. So it is an attempt to for product CTL and it again failed. Okay. And we also know what is the error because it is logged here. Now, at the end, you see that there is a log saying that product CTL failed after 2 attempts and alert is required. Now, after 2 attempts are done, the um, like it stops the downstream tasks. So basically my pipeline stops here. Now I'll go to the Aethermart and I will see the logs inside the edit log table, ETL, audit log table basically. So here it showed me that products ETL was run, products pipeline was run, but it failed. So what is the reason? There is an unknown column called description. So we successfully saw that what error is there because of which our pipeline is failed. Okay. So going ahead, I resolved some errors and I just wanted to show you the correct pipeline where I intentionally put in some errors into the test data so that I see some logs in my logs table. So I again ran this orchestrator file and it successfully ran. So you see that there are no data in the main tables, but I only have data in my staging tables. But now that I've run the orchestrator file, I'll again see the count and here, as you saw, that there is some data in categories, product, suppliers. So what failed? So this is the ETL logs again. I see that multiple pipelines were run. I see that in categories, 4 rows were inserted and there is no error. In suppliers, again, 4 rows were inserted and there is no error. Then if you see other pipelines, right, I have some or the other error. So that means that our logging is working fine, like, um, and we are able to, know that where do we have the issue. So, for example, here in products, 4 rows got inserted, but 2 rows failed. And what rows failed? It also shows us that here, if you see row number 5 and 7, so products row failure. So here I see that 105 and 106, these rows were there which failed, which didn't insert. So I see that the number of rows which failed are also logged, and what exactly the rows were are also logged here, along with what is the error. Okay. So now post resolving major errors, as I told you that I introduced some intentional errors, and this is what I saw. So this is just a screenshot of what I just showed you. If you go in detail in customers row failure, we see that 4 rows were inserted, 1 row failed, and which row failed? This 205 failed. Now, and why did it fail? Column first name cannot be null. So basically, this entry must have first name as null. That is none here, right? So that's why this row didn't enter. Um, so if you see now, once I removed the major errors and I introduced some intentional errors, I see that I have data in all my main tables, and it is less than the staging tables because there was some data which didn't insert, right? Because it was invalid. And I also see that I have 20, rows in my logs table. So this is the orchestration logs. So inside the ETL directory, right, there was a directory called logs. Inside that, I have a file that was auto-generated. Here you see the logs that categories ETL started, then it was a success, then suppliers started, then supplies was a success, then products, customers, orders, reviews, like that. And at the end, we have the Aethermart ETL orchestration as complete. So this is again the same screenshot. And again, this is the one that I discussed, right? That we are seeing the errors. So the summary of this pipeline execution is like mentioned here. It shows us what errors did I introduce. So in products, I introduced a foreign key error and a missing name. So I saw that 105, 106, these two rows were, not inserted. So if I see products, right, 105, 106, these two are not inserted. And why? Because cannot add or update a child row. So on 105 entry, I have a foreign key constraint, and on 106 entry, I have a null constraint. So like product name cannot be null. So this is what I tried to show here, like missing name. Then for this customers, I have missing first name. For orders, I have missing customer ID. So all these errors which I've introduced, these are successfully logged in our logging table. Okay. So as you can see here, I've shown you my previous, like when the pipeline was run. Here in the customers ETL pipeline, I see there are 5 entries in the staging customers, but only 4 entries in customers because this 205 last entry didn't enter because the first name was null. And also I see that it is being locked correctly. So basically, this thing demonstrates two critical functions of the ETL pipeline. One is the data cleaning. Now, how data cleaning? Because as you see here, the email IDs, these are in caps lock, right? Um, Here M is in caps lock, and here Lee. So this data is being cleaned and normalized, and in main tables, I only see the email IDs in lower cases. Okay. So one, the data cleaning is done, and second, data validation is done. That is the entry which was invalid, it didn't insert. And all of this was done automatically via our one orchestration pipeline, and we have the logs too. Similarly, in products, as I've discussed, right, um, why data didn't enter, I have it in my logs. So it again demonstrates the robust data validation within ETL pipeline. Then in orders ETL, I see that foreign key validation was done because there is a entry with 999 customer ID, but this customer doesn't exist. So therefore, this didn't insert in my main table, and I see the same log. I see that missing customer ID 999. So yeah, reviews ETL. So again, I have two rows which were faulty. Product does not exist for 505, and there was an invalid customer for 506, and I see that two rows failed. These were the two row 505, 506 with the same error being logged. Okay, so now I'll move on to data governance and like data governance principles. So, data governance is essential for clean, compliant, and trustworthy data. And my framework includes data quality, ownership, metadata management, lineage, security, access control, standardization, and auditability. So, basically, um, establishing robust data governance is critical for Aethermart to ensure all of these things. And our framework is built upon these principles that I just discussed. So, um, we have, so our data should be, of good quality, and we should have clear responsibility for all the data domains. Um, so, these are the major governance principle which are there for in fact any you know for any database or um, any standard framework, and specific to Aethermart, I like assigned stewardship based on some business functions. For example, product data. So for product data, we should have standard naming conventions, auto cleaning of supplier, then product attribute dictionary maintained by product team. So the benefit is that no more inconsistent product listings will be there across website or mobile if we have this governance track. Then we have customer and order data. So in this domain, we have PII encryption. So this is kind of operational domain. So we need to make sure that we do not have any personal data which is not encrypted. We have the RABC roles so that everyone cannot access every data. So we have some email validation done, and then um, orphan orders are prevented using referential integrity. And this is necessary because this gives us strong compliance plus accurate order flows. Similarly, we have review and unstructured data for marketing and analytics domain. In this, we should have standardized text, and we should have our sentiment analysis in brag and embeddings and metadata intact so that we can have a reliable semantic search and recommendation quality. Then we have multi-channel data integration, and then at the end governance of distributed systems. So basically we have to make sure that cluster node actions are logged, like whether we are adding any server, removing, and whatever is the failover, everything should be logged. We should ensure that backups are there and they are versioned, so we know that which is the latest backup. um So yeah, all of this ensures that traceability is there across SQL and NoSQL and the EC2 instances so that we can have a, robust database management. Now, moving towards the last part, which is the end-to-end security assessment. So basically, a comprehensive security audit is crucial for identifying and mitigating vulnerabilities across our data infrastructure. And this section covers our conceptual security posture from network configurations to PII handling. So this is the security posture overview. Aethermart uses a multiple EC2 nodes. It uses Galera cluster, replication, NoSQL, vector embeddings, and multiple ETL pipelines. And this creates several potential risks uh, across identity and then networking and data protection and monitoring and infrastructure in general. So the our Aethermart, like in our project, the key strengths include high availability and strong ETL logging. So basically high availability because we have Galera cluster, right? We have Galera because we want to have high availability and um like we have the distributed system. We do not just have a single system. Then our ETL structure, our ETL pipeline is strong because we have audit logs. Like um, today we discussed, right? We have logs for every failure, for every success, so it is easy to debug if we run into some issue. Then we have multi-database hybrid architecture for scaling. Like we have NoSQL, MariaDB all together running in the single architecture. So polyglot persistence. But we have some weaknesses too. And these weaknesses include missing encryption. We do not have any data which is encrypted. Then overexposed network access, log leakage, no TLS, and lack of centralized monitoring. And all of these things must be addressed to harden the Aethermart database management. So I propose mitigations which include encrypting PII at rest and in transit both. So whatever data we have in our database, which is at rest, and whatever data is there in transit, which is being shared among different systems, should be encrypted. Like no one else should be able to hack into a system and discover the actual data. So this is one of the most important things. Then we have TLS for replication and cluster traffic. Um, so basically, RBAC is another very important way to mitigate risk. So basically, RBAC with least privilege. Not everyone should, access all the things, right? Then we have moving databases to private subnets. So Galera cluster plus NoSQL nodes should be moved out of public subnets, and we should use some private subnets so that it is not accessible for the general public. Then API input validation and JWT based authentication is another, um, you know, uh, another way, like another process we should include in Ethermart so that security is not at risk. Then we have some NoSQL or unstructured data mitigations, that is RBAC that I just told you. Then embedding privacy, that is store embeddings in hash format, again like encrypting it. Um, or like anonymize user identifiers before vectorization so that the data is safe. Then we have monitoring plus audit system. So we should have a centralized logging that, um, centralized for all the distributed components so that we have logs for every action that is done inside our cluster. Then full audit trail for lineage. So basically, the track should be that data should origin and then transformation will happen, then final table. So who accessed or modified what? We should have an audit trail for everything, like who accessed which transformer and which model and modified what data. Now, coming to what we built across all the milestones. So, this milestone ties together everything we built from milestone 1 to 5, which includes schema design, triggers, partitioning, replication, clustering, vector embeddings, NoSQL, then hybrid architecture, and now orchestration, governance, and security. So, we started with the foundation um like implemented, you know, designed a MariaDB schema for all the tables for Aethermart, then implemented some advanced SQL features, built an initial ETL pipeline and some RBACs. Then in milestone 2, we did some scaling. We implemented some advanced SQL like triggers and did partitioning. We explored column store, and then in the third milestone, we built, primary, secondary replica, and then we built Galera cluster for high availability. We tested our node failure, addition, etc., and then we moved on to semantic search. So we build embeddings. We did some semantic search on our product descriptions so that our Ethermart is future proof and AI proof. Then we moved on to some advanced and optimized um, versions of Ethermart where we did cluster troubleshooting. We made a stronger ETL pipeline, and then we you know worked with vector embeddings again and data for AI driven search and recommendations. Then we learned a concept of polyglot persistence where we had hybrid architecture, that is MariaDB and NoSQL combined. Then we got introduced to data lake warehouse. We built a proof of concept, NoSQL integration for reviews or customer preferences, and defined security challenges in heterogeneous ecosystems. Then in today's milestone, we went to all together to another level where we built a very robust orchestration pipeline with logging and monitoring and full data governance was covered. So this is the proposed optimal architecture. So basically, this is my recommended final architecture for Ethermart. So it includes unified ingestion, and once data is ingested, there is an advanced ETL orchestration pipeline similar to what we have today, like but in a very, you know, on a very high level. Like today, the pipeline that I implemented that was on a lower level, but it gave an idea, right? So in this advanced detail orchestration, we will be doing some validation and cleaning, which I did today, and logging. But ideally, it should also include encryption and lineage and error handling. Then after this pipeline is done, we have a Galera cluster for high availability, where our clean data will be stored, right? Clean data and encrypted data. So the customers and products, whatever data we have, that will be encrypted, which will not be available to general audience. Then we have a NoSQL store where where our data, which was in our staging tables initially, that got ingested into NoSQL database, right? So this is the NoSQL integration. Then we have vector embeddings and centralized monitoring. So basically, this architecture is scalable, secure, and AI ready because we have some raw data into our data lake and in our Galera cluster, and which is being fed to the vector layer to turn into embeddings, which can help us in semantic search recommendations, and then you know it can be given to the analysts for some data analysis. So as I just discussed, these are the layers which I proposed for the final architecture. So a unified ingestion layer connecting data, like extracting data from all the sources, then the pipeline, and like everything we just discussed. Now, why this architecture is optimal is because it is seamlessly scalable. It supports rapid growth in product catalog, customer base, and multi-channel activity through clustering, NoSQL, and partitioning. It is built for continuous availability because it is built on Galera cluster. Then it is AI ready for design because we have data which is ready to be fed in AI pipeline. Then it is secure, which is one of our requirements. Data governance is strong, and we have like we can we it ensures that we rely on accurate, complete, and consistent data. Then it is flexible for all data types because we have a hybrid architecture, right? We have structured as well as unstructured database both working together. So basically, it is optimized for both operations and insights. So basically, both transactional things are handled as well as insights are handled. So this is the final architecture that should be built for um, a company like Aethermart. So AI disclosure and acknowledgements. So I used AI tools, including ChatGPT, to generate ideas and like generate code. I used Gemini too, and again, I used Gamma AI for the presentation and content organization, etc. So mostly I used AI for code development. It helped me write my Python ETL scripts, SQL queries, and everything. And then it also helped me debug and troubleshoot the issues in the ETL pipeline. Um, and at the end, it like helped me to learn. So I learned a lot while implementing and while doing this project. So um, basically, it helped me, but I reviewed and corrected all the scripts manually, ensuring that the code is accurate. So it helped me improve my speed, but I had to still customize all the outputs myself. So thank you so much for watching my Milestone 6 presentation. I look forward to your feedback. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.